Hello, students. Yes, although I am absent today, I wanted to record this video so you would know what we are going to do in today's lesson. As you can probably tell by this excellent theme song I have playing, we are starting a new unit, and it's a really awesome one. So, let's go dive into it. So first of all, go to your eCampus, which you are probably already in, which is why you are watching this video. You should have clicked modules by now, which you probably already did, which is why you are watching this video. You are probably already in Unit 2, Beyond Our World, which is again why you are probably already watching this video. Oh, this is going to be awesome, guys. We're going to be learning about Beyond Our World. So let's dive in. Let's take a look at our learning goal. So the learning goal, guys, for this unit is for you to be able to compare and contrast the characteristics of waves that's found in our EM or electromagnetic spectrum, and explain how vast distances in space are measured. As always, there are a series of different content standards that we'll be going over. But before we get into those standards, let's do our bell work first. So your bell work is for you to answer these questions. Let's see what you already know about Beyond Our World. Why are objects moving in space? And what is an astronomical unit? Right now, guys, please give me your reply. Go ahead and click the response button, and you should be able to post your answer. Go ahead and do that while I play some Star Wars music in the background. At this point, you have probably finished your bell work. If you have not completed your bell work, please pause the video and complete it. It is graded, so I do need you to complete that. However, if you are done with your bell work, go ahead and click the next button. Okay, so on this slide is where you already know my video is located because, again, you are currently watching it. But what I do want you to notice is that we're now going to go into our tracker. So the link here, guys, is really for those of you that do not have a tracker already. Most of you guys have already downloaded your Sunshine State Standard, so you won't need to click the link. You'll just need to go into your Clever, sign into your Google Drive, go to Google Sheets, and open up your actual tracker. Now, for those of you that have your tracker already open, which again is most of you guys, what you're going to notice when you get to the BOW tab, you're missing some standards. That's because when I previously pre-did the standards, I did not include the nature of science standards, which we need to do. So for those of you that already have your tracker, what I want you to do, I want you to copy the standards that you see here that I just highlighted. Do Control C, okay? And then when you go into your tracker, oh, let me fix this. All right, let's try that again. So when you go into your tracker and you scroll down, remember the tabs at the bottom, Nature Science. This was the changes over time. You want BOW for Beyond Our World. What I need you to do, I need you to add the ones that you just copied. If you look at mine, I have the 1, 2, 3, 4 of them at the bottom, okay? These 4 here are the new ones I need you to add in, all right? The ones above, the first 3 you should already have. I need you to add the 4 that I just highlighted. So again, all you'll wanna do is go into the eCampus, and when you're in the eCampus, just simply, oops, sorry, I think I stopped sharing my screen. Share. When you go into your, let me move this over here. Okay, when you are in this slide here in eCampus, you can just highlight the ones that I have written here and then simply paste them in. Okay, these are the ones that I had just missed. All right. Once you have them in, we're going to go ahead and talk through each standard. I need you to rate your current understanding of each standard. Are you ready? This is our self-assessment scale. If you need more time to cut and paste, please pause the video, cut and paste it, and then start playing. Remember, you're going to rate yourself in the scale at the bottom. 1 meaning I'm not sure, 2 meaning almost there, have some understanding, I need more practice, 3 meaning I got it, 4 meaning that I know this so well I can teach others. So here's our first standard we're going to do, which is the 5.10, assessing how technology helps us to understand our outer world, remote locations, data collection and storage, communication, and computation. So what do you know about the way we use technology to help us to understand the world around us, the outside world, space? Are you familiar with the type of technology that's used to help us to understand outer space? Are you familiar with the way they collect data, how they do measurements, how they store that data, how they can calculate, like, for instance, things like, how far away things are? Are you familiar with those things? If you are familiar, you may give yourself a 3 or a 4. If you're not familiar with them, give yourself a 1 or a 2. Next one, 5.1. Recognize that there are enormous distances between objects in space and apply your knowledge of light and space travel to understand its distance. What do you understand about distances in space? Are you familiar with this concept? Are you familiar with how those distances are measured and what we understand about them? Again, if you do, give yourself a 3 or 4. If you're not really familiar with it, give yourself a 1 or a 2. Next one, the 5.11 or 5.11. Identify and compare characteristics of the electromagnetic spectrum, such as wavelength, frequency, use, and hazards, and recognize its application to an understanding of planetary images and satellite photographs. So first of all, do you even know what electromagnetic spectrum is? If you're familiar with that concept, then do you know how we use that when we look at pictures of planets and stars far away? Do you understand how we use the electromagnetic spectrum to understand pictures that we get from satellites? If you are familiar with how wavelength and frequency is used to help us to interpret this data, again, give yourself a 3 or 4. But if you're not familiar, give yourself a 1 or a 2. Next one, 10.1. Illustrate that the sun's energy arrives as radiation with a wide range of wavelengths, including infrared, visible, and ultraviolet, and that white light is made up of a spectrum of many different colors. So what do you understand about the sun's radiation? What do you understand as far as wavelengths and how that relates to visible light and light that we can't see, or I should say wavelengths that we can't see? Do you understand the concept of how wavelengths identify different types of forms of energy, like infrared, ultraviolet? Do you understand that white light is made up of different colors? How familiar are you with this concept? Again, a 1 or 2 if you're not, 3 or 4 if you are. Next one, 10.2. Observe and explain that light can be reflected, refracted, and or absorbed. Do you know what the word reflected means? You might know that one, but do you know what refracted is? What is refraction? What does it mean that light is refracted? Have you heard that term before? Do you know that light can be absorbed? Do you understand what that means when light is absorbed and what that results in? How do we know when light is absorbed or when light is refracted or when light is reflected? Do those concepts seem familiar to you? If they do, 3 or 4. If not, a 1 or a 2. Next one. Recognize that light waves, sound waves, and other waves move at different speeds in different materials. Did you know that? Did you know that sound moves at different speeds depending on what it's traveling in? Did you know that light does the same thing? Do you understand the result of that? Like, because light and sound travel at different speeds in different mediums, that we end up having a different result. We can see it in different ways. Again, is that something you're familiar with? A 3 or 4. If it's something you never really even heard of, maybe a 1 or a 2. Next one, 1.5. Analyze the methods used to develop a scientific explanation as seen in different fields of science. Now, this is one that we've gone over many times, and you will again and again. This is part of the nature of science. The concept is just that in different fields of science, there are different ways that they're able to reach scientific explanation. They can analyze methods and develop these methods in different ways. Is that concept something that you're familiar with? The fact that scientific explanation can the methods in which they develop scientific explanation in different fields of science. Do you understand that concept of the scientific method and how that method is applied in different fields of science? All right, did you give yourself your rating? I hope so. Okay, so that takes care of column B. Now it's time for column C, which is our pre-test. So leave this up on your screen as a tab, guys. Go back to eCampus, and I want you to click next. So the next thing that should pop up, oh, by the way, sorry, this one here, the content standards tracking sheet, it's just the exact same thing we just did here. This one just has my video. The reason why I separated is because there were multiple times when students were asking just for the content. And so I just identified it to make it easier to find if someone couldn't find their tracker. But in any case, what I want you to go to now is your pre-test. So right now, you guys are going to take your pre-test for Beyond Our World. There's only 9 questions, and you have about 20 minutes to take it. It probably won't take you 20 minutes, but you can take all 20 minutes if need be. So at this time, please go ahead and take your Beyond Our World pre-test. Go ahead and pause my video, and when you're done with your pre-test, start the video again so we can do our tracking and analysis. Okay, everyone, start your pre-test. Okay, guys, at this time, you should have completed your pre-test. If you have not completed your pre-test, please pause this video and do not continue it until you're done taking the pre-test. So now what we're going to do is the pre-test does give you your answers. Take a look and see which ones you got right and which ones you got wrong. Notice that at the very beginning of the pre-test, it does tell you which standard correlates to which question. So now let's take this information and put it onto our tracker and see how you actually did. So if you notice, in our tracker, the first standard is 5.10. 5.10 is question 1. So did you get question 1 correct? If you did, where it says pre-test, I want you to put 100% if you got it right. So this is going to be, oops, let me try to make this a little bit larger for you guys. If you got question 1 correct, let's make this larger. Okay, so this is going to be question, oops, let's try it again. Spell question right. Question 1. So correct equals 100%. Incorrect, oops. Incorrect equals 0%. Okay. Let's see if I can wrap that around. All right, the next one, 5.1, that's question 2. So same concept. I'm just going to go ahead and copy this. So again, question 2. Oh, where is my little cursor here? Let's make this a 2. Okay. 511, that is question 3 and 4. So that's 2 of them. Okay. So with this one, we're going to have 3 and 4. So now, if you got both correct, 100%, right? Oops. If you got, I need this thing to wrap around, okay? If you got them both correct, 100%. If you got both incorrect, then obviously 0%. If one is correct, that's going to equal 50%. All right, sound good? Oops, next one, 10.1. 10.1 is question 5. So that's going to follow the one or nothing concept for this one here. Let's see, 10.2 is question 6. Again, that's going to be that all or nothing kind of rule. The next one, oops, 10.3. 10.3 is 7 and 8. So that's going to follow this rule up here. So I'm going to put this here. This is going to be, let's see, let's make this a 7 and let's make this an 8. And then the last one is question 9, and that's an all or nothing. There you go. All right, guys, so you should have your tracker done. So you should have on here what your pre-test proficiency is thus far, okay? Now, when is your actual test date? Well, I'm going to tell you. Okay, and your test date, are you ready? Your test date, are you ready, is going to be November 12th. Oops, let's try that again. All right, let me try that again. November 12th and 13th. I'm going to make this a little bit larger. Okay, now obviously your test date depends on, you know, if you're an odd class number or even class number, but it'll either be the 12th or the 13th. That will be our post-assessment test. Will be on November 12th/13th. Okay, so now everyone should have their tracker done for Beyond Our World. Okay, now going back. Okay, guys, so once you are done with your pre-test, if there's time left, if there's extra time, move on to the video on light. You're going to watch this video and then answer 4 questions in the discussion box, okay? Now, you're only going to do this if there is extra time in class. If class is ended, then do not do the video on light, okay? Because we can do this later on as a class. But I'm giving you this assignment just in case there is extra time in class before class ends, okay? So take a look at the clock, have a talk with the sub. Again, if there's additional time, then we will be doing this video and answering the questions, and then I will be grading it. But if there isn't enough time, then it won't be for a grade. So it all depends on if there's enough time. And of course, the sub will let me know if you guys actually had time to do this. All right, guys. So this should be it. This should take you to the end of class. So I hope you have enjoyed your intro into Beyond Our World. I have thoroughly enjoyed it, and I will see you soon. But until then, may the force be with you.